audio is the most important part of video. But did you know that lighting is the most important part of audio? That's not even remotely true, but I have no other way to get into a lighting tutorial on an audio channel. And actually, this isn't even a tutorial. It's not really a review. It's really just a comparison. One of the highlights of this channel has always been doing blind audio comparisons, where I take a couple of microphones and I let you hear samples, and I just put up A, B, or A, B, C, and I let you decide as you listen to them which one you like best, and I only reveal which one was which all the way at the end of the video. That way you can actually make a real decision without being influenced by the brand or knowing the microphones in advance. And I'd like to do the same thing for lighting. Now, a caveat, I don't know anything about lighting. I mean, I understand the fundamentals of 3-point lighting, and I know roughly how to custom white balance and things, but I'm not a lighting guy, I'm an audio guy. And I don't wanna end up being like so many of the videos I see where I see people who are like camera people, really amazing camera people, and then they decide to make an audio tutorial or a microphone review or mic tutorial out of nowhere, and me and all the audio people are just cringing going, everything they're saying is wrong, this is bad advice, no! Is anything I'm saying making sense? Milo got up at 5 a.m. I've been up forever. What we're doing in this video is I'm gonna show you 3 different lighting setups. I'm not gonna show you the setup, I'm just gonna show you what it looks like. I'm gonna show you 3 different lighting setups. You're gonna write down which one you like best, and at the end, I will tell you what the light was and anything else you need to know about it. And then we can kind of talk about the differences, and you can make a decision for yourself what type of light you might want for your work. First, I'm gonna turn off everything except the accent lights behind me so you can see what this room looks like when it's pitch black, which will be our baseline, and I'll let you see pitch black every time before I turn on a new light. All right, let's do the first one. All right, which one did you like better? Write it down, lock in your votes, put it in the comments so you can't change your mind. Comment, and then you can comment on your comment. You can reply to your comment in a little bit with if you were surprised, what you thought about it. Anyway, I'm gonna tell you which one was which in 5, 4, 3, look away if you don't wanna know, 2, 1, here we go, spoilers. So, did anything surprise you? Did you choose the most expensive one? Did you choose the cheapest one? Something in between? Let me know by replying to the comment that you already made about your choice. So let's talk about the 4 different options I showed you. It was 2 different lights with 2 different diffusion options, or lack of diffusion, depending on the situation. All right, I got all my notes here about what each of these lights are, what they cost, so on and so forth. So the first one that you saw was the Godox SL60W, which is $125 on Amazon at the time of this recording, with the Godox CS65D Lantern Softbox Soft Light Modifier, which is $62 at the time of this recording. This light is too heavy for one of the cheap, like the really cheap plastic, $20 light stands, $25 light stands. So you do need to spend money on a real C-stand, which could run you anywhere from $80 to $200. So really all in, the first lighting setup you saw, setup A, was about $280 to $300 if you count the light, the softbox, and the C-stand. Now, the cool thing about the Lantern Softbox is that it's got about 270 degrees or so. I could look that up. It doesn't matter. It's about 270 degrees or so of light. So it doesn't just aim directly at you. It actually fills to the left and right and a little bit behind. It just doesn't fill directly behind, of course. But it's a lantern. And so what's really cool about that is that it's really soft diffused light, but it lights up part of the background as well as the subject. So it kind of provides a more even lighting across the entire scene, which is great if you're not going for the really dramatic, isolated look. Lighting setup B was the Neewer 660 bi-color LED panel with no modifiers on it. So it had the diffusion kind of piece of plastic that comes with it, but it did not have a softbox or anything else. That light at the time of this recording is only $73 on Amazon, and there were no softboxes. And even though it was on the same C-stand I was using the entire video, you don't need a heavy C-stand. You could just use one of the cheap C-stands or the cheap light stands. So let's see, I've got a bunch of those, and I used to use $21 or $30 depending on what it is. So all in, that was only about $100 US for the light stand and for the panel itself. Now, it's a harsh light, right? It's harsh and it's somewhat directional. It comes with barn doors that if you want, you can kind of put them on there and shape the light. I did not have the barn doors on in this video, so it was spilling a bit on the background, but you can actually shape it even tighter if you want to. It's gonna be harsh. You're gonna get some, like spot, kind of like the light spots on the nose and the forehead and things like that. But for $100, I used that light as my main light, my key light, for a long time. It's not super powerful, but if you're in a small home studio space, it's more than enough. Lighting setup C was the exact same panel, the Neewer 660 bi-color. You can imagine it would have been on the same cheap light stand, so $100 all in there. Plus, it had the Neewer 660 bi-color softbox, which is only $35. And that brings the whole total of that kit to $135, which is, again, $135 US is really pretty cheap for a nice key light that you can use for YouTube or content creation. Now, the thing is, once you've got the softbox on there, it's gonna be less harsh, so a little bit more flattering light, a little bit softer light, of course, less hot spots on the face, but the softbox does significantly diminish the output power of an already kind of weak light. So you really have to move it close to you. It's gotta be pretty in your face, or you're gonna have to start cranking your ISO, or you're gonna have to get a really, really bright lens. And of course, I'm deliberately using f2.8 here, which is kind of a middle ground that basically anybody can achieve. And if you're, of course, if you've got a camera and you're using a kit lens, it's even darker than that at 3.5. So be mindful of that, that you're gonna lose power, output power when you put on the softbox, but for $135, it's pretty good. And lastly, lighting setup D is what you're looking at right now. It is the Godox SL60W on the C-stand, so we're already looking at a heavy expense, right? We're looking at $125 for the light itself. We're looking at somewhere in the range of $80 to $100 for the C-stand, so that it's stable because it's pretty heavy. And on top of that, we've added the parabolic softbox, the QRP90, the quick setup, quick folding Bowens mount, giant freaking monstrosity, which in and of itself is $140 at the time of this recording. So you're looking at that $125 for the light. You're looking at maybe $80 or $100 for the C-stand. So you're at $200 at least, maybe $220 plus another $140. So you're looking at $360, maybe $380, depending on when you get it. So this is the most expensive. Now, the parabolic softbox is it's a giant diffused surface, which is wonderful. And I've got it pretty close to me. I could touch it just barely. I can touch the diffusion on the outside of it. It's got 2 layers of diffusion, which makes this really, really soft and lovely. And it's somewhat focused, right? It's not like that lantern that lights up the background. This is somewhat focused. So if, my wall is only about 5 or 6 feet behind me, but if you had a wall that was like, 8 or 10 feet away, you wouldn't get that much spill on the wall from this light. And so this is the most expensive setup of all of them. Having said that, all of these are under $400. And I know $400 is a lot of money. $100 is a lot of money to many people. I've been at times in my life, trust me, where $100 I could not have afforded, let alone $400. I would have laughed. I just 5 or 6 years ago on YouTube, I was talking about how these, real C-stands were totally unaffordable. So everybody's in a different financial situation. And I'm hoping that what this video did is help you see the difference in quality between different types of lights. I'm not a lighting guy. I'm not doing technical heavy stuff right now. But if this was helpful, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Come back anytime to sound better and level up, and we'll see you soon.